I firmly believe that God is somebody who's really, really got our back in all life's circumstances and situations. And the reason why I say that is because God often puts things in our lives which save us from potentially awkward and really embarrassing situations. Take sunscreen, for instance. Sunscreen solely is a product which you use so, hey, you don't feel pain or you're not red all the time for the next 4 days after you come out of a time in the sun, which I think is a great, great, great invention. So, what happened before sunscreen was invented back 200, 300 years ago? People would be working in the fields, working, 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 and for the next week and a half, their whole body would be red. And you come up, visit from out of town, you're like, whoa, Hezekiah, Ezekiel, after you're harvesting the crops, your body's red. And the person's like, oh, I know, I know. So to save us now, more the present of those awkward, embarrassing situations, God says, hey, I'll let you work in the sun. I'll let you lounge around outside. Put sunscreen on. It'll save you from an embarrassing situation. Take the horn in a car, for instance. It's a very similar thing. You got these bad drivers, these people who make really impulsive, indecisive decisions, and to save them from having to go back and tell their spouse, hey, I kind of ran over the cat and then swerved and hit a telephone pole, for instance, God puts the horn in the car of us and the car and the people all around us. So we're about ready to make that awkward, stupid decision. So it goes, bah! And that really, really stops us and hopefully puts us on the right track. Another one is these random things that we can just talk about in any kind of conversation. We've all had times in our lives when we've been at a party, a social event, a club, or a gathering where we go up and we start talking, talking, talking with someone, and we realize it's a good conversation, and then all of a sudden, it just stops. It's a lull, it's a stop, and we're like, I really want to keep talking. I have no clue what to talk about. And God gave us things so we don't feel embarrassed, such as the weather, such as weird random talents which serve no benefit or purpose to society at all. It's in those moments at a party, at a club, when you're meeting that special someone for the first time, you just bring those up, and that's God saying, I gave that to you to save you from an awkward, embarrassing situation. Another one that really saves us from a pretty stupid situation is the oven mitt. What a great invention this thing is. Before the oven mitt was invented, people would pull their casserole, pull some out of the stove or off the fire, and they'd burn the nerve endings in their hands. They'd toss the casserole, they'd drop it. I can imagine dinner would have to be an event where it would either be cooked multiple, multiple times, or you'd have to put out the fire, and then 2 hours later, when the pot is finally cool enough, pick it up and start eating it then. But God's got our back and saying, hey, I know you want to eat your dinner when it's done cooking. Let me give you the oven mitts so you can do that. Another one of these great, great things is this invention of the Kleenex. What an awesome idea this was. When you sneeze in public, you no longer have to awkwardly wipe it off with your hand and thus spread this terrible germs to everybody that came from your nose and the phlegm and the mucus. Now you wipe it off the Kleenex and throw it away. I don't know how it was like during the Revolutionary War time when all that dust and the wigs and the powder was all in the air, people allergies, but it was crazy. Oh my! If Allegra had been invented in 1750, it would have cleaned up. That would have been the stock to invest in. Would have been at the Yahoo of 300 years ago, but it was absolutely crazy, crazy. I bet. And God said, no longer do you have snot on your face. Let me give you something you can just wipe the snot away. I am going to give you the Kleenex. Final awesome, awesome, great invention is this invention of the shoelaces. What a great invention that was. We no longer have shoes that were flopping and flailing and shoes that didn't fit anymore. We could tie them as tight as we want to. Of course, you still have these people who we think our society sometimes doesn't really work hard. We have people, and how lazy is this, who refuse to tie their shoes because they don't want to bend over. And I'm like, I understand if it was like one of these shoes which has laces that goes the whole way up halfway up your calf. It's a lot of laces to lace and tie and bend over and work on. But it's a simple bow, and people are like, I'd rather risk falling down a flight of steps because someone stepped on my shoelace bending over. That's not for me. I just want to say as we close this that we truly serve a great God who really looks out for us and gives us such common things as a Kleenex, as sunscreen, as the stupid things in life that we have talent in that nobody cares about to save us from awkward, embarrassing, dumb situations. God's got your back. Hopefully you enjoy this another round two of some pretty funny indie comics sit down style.